This afternoon's top stories. Prime Minister Harris calls for greater input from private sector, Guyana to focus on education in 2017, and the U.S. marks 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, December 8th, 2016. I am Shaira Flanders. Nationally, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris says it can't be business as usual when it comes to economic growth, given the changing nature of the world. During Wednesday's presentation of the 2017 budget, the Prime Minister said government must be committed to policies that stimulate the economy and enhance human development.
No longer can we settle for an economy built on wholesale and retail trades or replace sugar production with the narrow traditional form of tourism. The business community must rise to the challenge of mobilizing the resources necessary to invest in key sectors such as non-traditional services, agriculture, manufacturing, renewable energy, and ICTs.
He also called for greater input from the private sector and a stronger partnership with government.
To accelerate growth in St. Kitts and Nevis, we would require a much more vibrant and innovative private sector. We need a private sector that is more involved in producing. We need a private sector that can commercialize our agriculture, our floriculture, and cultural industries. The high level of imports suggests that there are production opportunities. We would need to tackle them together.
The budget was presented under the theme Working Together, Accelerating Growth and Building Resilience. Medical practitioners, nurses and administrative staff in the Ministry of Health have been recognized for their dedication to healthcare in the Federation. Speaking at the opening of the oncology unit on Tuesday, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris said thank you to those who make a significant contribution to healthcare.
To all those who have come back, particularly those who have been trained here, our nurses who have been trained and who have stayed on. On behalf of the entire country, I say thank you. To the doctors who have determined to come back, I say thank you. To the administrative staff who has agreed to stay on, I say thank you. And to those of you who are over age and determined that there is a deficiency and a dearth in the provision of services and support, and you're determined to come back, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Prime Minister Harris also thanked Minister of Health, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and Minister of State with responsibility for health, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, for their leadership in moving the ministry forward.
And I know each one is committed to the cause of service, to the cause of ensuring they play their small part in advancing the agenda for all of our people, regardless of their creed, their race, their sexual preferences, recognizing that all are equal under God.
It has been announced as part of the 2017 budget that medical personnel will begin to receive overtime payment. Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine's 7th semester class, known as the Blue Semester, has donated school supplies to the Newton Ground Primary School, providing the school with items ranging from notebooks to storybooks to begin the new year. As a final gesture before leaving the island, Blue Semester held a 3-week donation drive to allow students to give new and used items in good condition to the school. Donations included nearly 60 binders, a variety of notebooks, pens and pencils, general office supplies, coloring books and storybooks. Afifa Abdul Rahim, 7th semester student and former student body president, delivered the items to Newton Ground Primary. She said she organized the school supply drive because she felt it was important to inspire children to study at a very young age. Afifa hopes that lower classes at Ross University will follow suit in the future with similar donations. The Blue Semester class will leave St. Kitts this month to complete their final clinical year.
I'm Tony Nias. Here is your invitation to join ZIZ Radio for the new Prime Talk every Thursday night from 8 until 10. Join us as we bring the national issues into focus.
So, caller, although you have a point,
The new Prime Talk is news, views, analysis, and your voice. Call us on 465-2555. Be a part of the new Prime Talk. The conversation begins right here on ZIZ Radio every Thursday night from 8 until 10. The new Prime Talk. Don't you miss it.
call me back anytime and let's debate this some more.
Saturday mornings are better than ever when ZIZ TV becomes the animation station. The fun kicks off at 9 a.m. with the Legion of Superheroes, followed by Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, Wolverine and the X-Men roar into action, and we wrap things up with Young Justice at 10:30. All this and more surprises every Saturday morning on ZIZ TV, the animation station.
And on the regional scene, Guyana's Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Roopnarine, says focus is to be placed on the country's educational system in 2017. HGP's Handel Duncan has that story.
Just over $43 billion was allocated in the 2017 budget for the Education Ministry, representing 17.2% of the entire budget. On Tuesday, the second day of the 2017 budget debates, Minister of Education Dr. Rupert Roopnarine told the House about some of the projects on which his ministry will expend that hefty sum during the upcoming fiscal year.
In terms of general administration, Mr. Speaker, in 2017, we will continue our commitment to improving the managing of the administration of the education sector in increasingly more efficient ways, both in terms of oversight of the 11 education districts, as well as setting benchmarks for the dozens of private schools that are scattered across Guyana.
Part of the 2017 education plan is to realize closer collaboration among University of Guyana School of Education and Humanities, NSERD, and CPCE.
These initiatives will form the basis of a medium-term sector review plan, 2018-2020, which in turn will necessarily be simply another phase in what has to be a process that fundamentally reforms and restructures the pedagogy at the heart of our education system.
The number of counselors in the school system is to increase significantly, Minister Roopnarine told the National Assembly.
In 2017, we will expect continued improvements in student welfare. For example, considering the critical work it has conducted, particularly over the past year, we will be looking at transitioning the school health, nutrition, and HIV/AIDS unit into an official implementing unit within the ministry.
There will be TVET funding and expansion and other plans for the National Accreditation Council.
In 2017, we also expect to see the strengthening and greater autonomy of the National Accreditation Council and an increased capacity for accreditation and determining equivalency under this entity.
Arrangements are being finalized at University of Guyana for the construction of a new 300-seat lecture theatre as well as a new student services building. A new School of Medicine building is also being constructed at university's main campus in 2017. Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News.
Brazil's Supreme Court has rejected a decision to suspend the Senate president who has been indicted for alleged embezzlement. Renan Calheiros defied an earlier injunction by Judge Marcos Mello, who said his position was indefensible after the court ruled that he must face trial. But according to the BBC, the court voted to strip him from being in line for the presidency, and his removal could have derailed a government austerity plan. The legislation includes big spending cuts and is a key part of President Michel Temer's plan to control the budget deficit and revive the country's economy. By a 6-4-3 majority, the court decided that while no indicted person can be in line for the presidency of the country, that does not mean they have to step down from other positions. And on the international scene, the U.S. has marked the 75th anniversary of Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor with a solemn ceremony and a gesture of reconciliation with its former enemy. It has agreed to hand back more land from its military base on the Japanese island of Okinawa. Here's more.
Few people are still alive to recall that day in 1941 when, without warning, the Japanese Imperial Navy attacked Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,300 American servicemen. Jim Davey was 6 when he watched the planes dropping their torpedoes on the battleship Arizona.
And the pilot looked down on us. He had opened up his cockpit. And both Tom and I remember the kind of quizzical look on this guy's face. And that's a vision that I carry with me till today.
Generations later, the U.S.-Japanese alliance still hasn't erased all the bitter memories of World War II. In May, Barack Obama became the first U.S. president to visit Hiroshima, where an atomic bomb killed 140,000 Japanese civilians. He expressed regret, though no apology. And on the Pearl Harbor anniversary, outgoing U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter has announced the return later this month of 4,000 hectares of land from the U.S. military base on Okinawa.
We share your commitment to the realignment and are prepared to make the largest land transfer in the history of our alliance.
Japanese are still unsure how relations will fare under Donald Trump's presidency. Trump's intent to pull out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership revived one of his old themes, that Japan was unfair in its trading with the U.S.
We don't beat Japan with their millions and millions of cars coming into this country.
But Japanese Prime Minister Abe was the first foreign leader whom the president-elect met, after which Abe said he perceived a relationship of trust. And this week, Trump claimed credit for clinching a planned $50 billion investment in the U.S. by the Japanese telecom giant SoftBank. Later this month, Abe plans to rejoin Obama at Pearl Harbor, the first Japanese leader to visit the naval base. This, he said, will be a visit to soothe the souls of the victims. Tom Ackerman, Al Jazeera.
The death toll of a magnitude 6.5 earthquake in Indonesia has gone up to at least 93. Officials say more bodies could be buried under the rubble of collapsed buildings. More in this report.
The quake was shallow, just 15 kilometers deep, causing major damage. It hit at 5 in the morning, when many people were still at home or at the mosques for morning prayer. Many panicked and immediately ran for higher ground. In 2004, a 9.2 quake triggered a tsunami that destroyed entire communities, killing more than 170,000 people. Hundreds of soldiers and police are now involved in a search and rescue operation, but they're lacking the necessary equipment. After hours of digging, a mother and her son were found dead inside their shop. Wounded people were treated in front of hospitals out of fear of more aftershocks. Authorities urge residents who had fled to return to their villages, but to stay out of their damaged homes, which means a night outside for many. The government is sending medical aid and shelter, but it will take time to arrive.
People in Aceh are suffering once again, 12 years after a devastating tsunami. While evacuation centers have been built and lessons learned, many buildings in Aceh are still not earthquake-proof. An issue disaster experts say should have been addressed long ago. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Jakarta.
And now for the weather. Temperatures today will peak at 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Present weather is fair with winds from the north and northeast at 40 miles per hour. Seas are slight to moderate with waves up to 6 feet. The weather forecast predicts sunny to partly cloudy skies today with a few isolated showers. Tonight will be mostly fair with the possibility of a few isolated showers. Sunset today will be at 5:37 p.m. and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:28 a.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Shaira Flanders. Have a good one.